Hey guys, HD here, and this is going to be game number 20, I believe. I've lost track of how many games we've gone through already. And this game is going to be on Scrapyard, which is a pretty fun map, very similar to Paranoid Android, if you guys are familiar with the Brood War scene. And this map, I feel like after playing on it quite a few times, definitely encourages some quick air units, simply because the long ground takes forever to get to your opponent's base because you have to make a huge U-shaped detour just to get over to where your opponent's at. So this game I am playing Terran and my opponent is Zerg, and I thought this game I'd go ahead and try out a quick air rush, specifically Banshee rush, and see how my opponent deals with it.
Not enough minerals.
And so we'll see how that works out, guys. As you guys probably have seen from a lot of my videos, I usually go bio with Terran because right now it's probably the best build for Terran. I kind of feel like mech, as in metal with siege tanks and Hellions, are somewhat kind of weak. I've been actually experimenting around a lot with mech. A lot of the times I lose simply because, I guess maybe mostly because I really suck with mech, and I'm still trying to get the build order and the timings down, but at the same time I also kind of feel like it's underpowered when you compare it to the other option, which is Biomed. And I feel like, you know, Marines, Marauders, and Medivacs are just the superior dominant builds right now for Terrans. But, I don't know, hopefully if I can get a really good TV anything game with me using mech, I'll definitely try to upload it. So be on the lookout for that. Anyways, just getting back to this game, you guys can see I am getting my SCV inside my opponent's base. And he's just got a lot of drones, getting his spawning pool and one extractor. It almost kind of looks like he's going for a roach build or something here, so we'll see what happens, but it's hard to predict in the beginning. And that drone almost going down. And as you guys can see, if you guys keep your eye on the bottom of the screen where the units overlay are at, even when I'm scouting or doing anything, always trying to return back to base with my hotkeys and build various things.
Not enough minerals.
That is one of the, you know, as I've said many times before, it's very important to make sure to stay on top of your base while you're doing whatever you're doing out there in the middle of the map or at your opponent's base.
This better be good.
And that SCV is going to go down, so I lose scouting information. I didn't see what tech my opponent went to, but I'm going to go ahead and, well, at this point I'm going to go ahead and probably assume either roaches, but until I get a comsat ready, I won't be able to really tell.
Add-on complete.
And so to get that quick starport rush build, you really gotta have both gases running at maximum efficiency right away, right from the get-go. And you can't really afford to build a second Rax or really fool around with mech or Marines. You can get a reactor just so you can pump out 2 Marines at once, which really does help if your opponent tries to rush you early on with Zerglings just like that right there.
Yes, sir.
And I probably would have died to that quick rush if I didn't have a reactor pumping out that extra set of Marines.
You want a piece of me, boy?
And so with that last supply depot, I do have a complete wall off. It is actually really easy to wall off these days with any race, as long as you have the unit grid overlay on.
I'm on it.
And so really right now, just kind of chilling in the base. And my plan here is to really I'm going to get a reactor. Yeah, I'm going to get a reactor on the factory as well, because if I've got a reactor factory and a reactor Rax, that's going to allow me to pump out cheap, quick units just to fend off any kind of an early rush my opponent might try again while I really wait for my Banshees to come out.
Add-on complete.
As you guys can see on the left there, that is the starport constructing.
Who wants some?
And I am actually going to get a supply depot all the way in the corner just in case my opponent tries to do some kind of a Nidus Worm attack.
Been waiting on you.
And if you guys have been watching a couple of my latest videos, you guys know just how strong those Nidus Worms are. Almost overpowered to a point, really. They are super, super strong. Just the ability to go anywhere you want with the Zerg army at only layer tech is, it's really mind-boggling, especially if you come from a Brood War scene. You're not used to Zerg popping up underground, right under your base.
Are you ready for this?
And I'm going to move one of my Hellions out just to do some scouting duty, As you guys can see, a second starport coming up. My tech lab is ready, and I'm also researching cloak as well at the tech lab for the Banshees. But the Banshee does require a tech lab to be built.
Where's the hot action?
And you guys can see my Hellion is starting to move.
Light it up.
And my opponent doesn't have his natural expansion, so I'm going to move straight up into his main and see exactly what he's got. And of course, always lovely to meet the queen. Looks like there's, yeah, it is going to be a roach build from my opponent, and there's some exposed drones here. I'm going to try to burn them down. And down goes 3 drones. Burn. I love that crispy drone meal. And as you guys can see, building my Banshees back at base with my hotkeyed starports on 4. And I'm going to continue to just keep my opponent here and keep pressure on him with this single lone Hellion, which is also providing me a lot of scouting information at the same time as well. And right there, using the meal, and this Hellion is going to get surrounded and go down. So my opponent is just massing roaches. And unfortunately on that starport I built a reactor, but what I really should have built was a tech lab now in retrospect, because if I'm going for a Banshee rush, I really don't need a reactor, because that's just going to allow you to basically build either medevacs or Vikings 2 times faster, but that's not the unit I really want right now. I want Banshees. And my second Banshee is out, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the harass, I think. And my opponent here is actually rushing in with those roaches. Now those roaches are so strong. I don't really have that many ground troops, but I do have Banshees, which my opponent cannot do anything to Banshees at all. I also have a Viking out. And this is actually really bad because those roaches are super armored. Even Banshees take forever to kill them. And all my Marines do go down. This is actually really, really bad because it's going to take me forever to kill these roaches, and meanwhile these roaches can do a lot of damage to my economy. And my Viking really isn't doing anything at all. You guys can see those roaches, how heavily armored they are. It takes forever to kill them. I'm just going to send my Viking over to the other guy's base. There's no point really landing him down. He's just going to die instantly to the roaches. And at this point, I've realized that, you know what, I am screwed. My base is done. There's no way I can stop the roaches. I'm going to lift off my command center and send my Banshees over to my opponent's base and see what I can do.
Our SCVs are
And I've also got a third Banshee up as well. All I've got to do is take out this queen. That's the only anti-air. It seems like my opponent's only anti-air right now was that queen. So his drone line is completely exposed right now. And I'm just going to land my command center over at this middle island. But my opponent doesn't have any anti-air right now, so his drones are completely minor. So both of us going eye for an eye, as I said many times. There is an Evo chamber right there, which allows him to build spore colonies, but he can't build spore colonies if he doesn't have drones, so that is not an option for him. And he does have a Hydralisk then too, so that's the only threat. If those Hydras come out, they might be able to take out my Banshees. Meanwhile, my entire base has been decimated. I do have 2 starports, so I'm going to lift my starports off and bring them along for the ride to the middle island. No more Roachhorn means no more roaches for my opponent. And unfortunately for the Zerg player, he cannot lift off. He's not as cool as the Terran is. So this could be a victory for me. I'm pretty sure there's a Hydras coming out of those eggs. Yeah, those are Hydras. But luckily for me, I do have Cloak Research and he has no Overseers. So he is pretty much screwed. And I'm going to chase down this Hydra just for fun. But at this point, I think my opponent is pretty much all but screwed. He doesn't have anything to deal with these Banshees. As you guys can see, they do a lot of damage to most units, except the Roach. Nothing really does that much damage to the Roach. But although my entire base has died, I still am in this game simply because I'm Terran. I can lift off, I have the middle ground, and my opponent has absolutely nothing. I know my opponent calls GG. So that's what he gets for going Roaches. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That shows you guys the power of the Banshees. And yeah, stay tuned for more games. I'm hoping I can get a nice, good mech game with Terran coming up soon. So be on the lookout for that, as I've said before. And once again, thanks a lot for all the support, subscribing, donating. Of course, shoutouts for all the people who've contributed will be coming soon. I haven't really gotten around to that, but yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and that'll be it for me. Game 20, HC Starcraft, signing out.
Additional supply depots required.